Welcome back to another video. So for this one we are going to focus on binary multiplication, as you can see. Now the good news is doing binary multiplication by hand is extremely easy, in my opinion, compared to doing it in base 10. So let's just get right into these questions. So the first question here, keeping in mind that we are in fact working in binary, what looks like 10 times 10 is really 2 times 2. So if we've got 1 0 times 1 0, that's 2 times 2, which as we know comes out to 4, which is also the same as 1 0 0 in binary. So I'll show you the long-handed way and then I'll show you some shortcuts. So remembering what we know back from elementary school about doing multiplication by hand, the first thing that we do is take a look at our first column right here. Okay, so we have 0 times 0. That's going to be 0. And then we've got 0 times 1. That's also going to be 0. So once we do those two things, we go on to our next column. But in order to do that, we have to remember to include at least 1 0 to account for the 2's place. And then we've got 1 times 0 right here. That's going to be 0. And then we've got 1 times 1 right here, which is going to be 1. So once we have these two things together, then it's just an addition problem. And as you can see, the answer is in fact 1 0 0. And another thing that I wanted to show you is, look out for this trick too, because it's going to make it a lot easier. Whenever I multiply by 2 or 1 0 in binary, you get the exact same effect as if you were to multiply by 10 in the decimal system. You just shift over to the left by 1. You add 1 more 0. And as you can see, 1 0 0 has 1 more 0 than 1 0. So look out for that trick. So let's go ahead and try another one. So in this case, we have 1 0 0 times 0 1 1. You don't have to include the 0, but it makes it easier for me. So now we're going to go ahead and do the same process. But let me ask you this first. So if we start in this column right here, I'm going to multiply each term in the top row by this 1. Wouldn't that just give me the row on top? We would have 1 times 0, you would have 0, then another 0, then you would have a 1. That is exactly the row on top. Now we're going to do the same thing for the second column, but we just have to remember to account for the 2's place by shifting over 1 to the left, by adding that 0, just like you were taught back in 4th grade. And since it's a 1, we have the top row again, 0, 0, 1. It's just shifted over once. And now for the last one, since we have 0 times everything on the top, that's just going to be a row of zeros. You can include that if you want. I'll do it just for clarity. So this time you add 2 zeros, and then you're going to have just a bunch of zeros. Now it's an addition problem. So you have that's 0, that's 0, that's 1, and that's 0. So that's the answer to that one. Let's go ahead and try 2 more. So let's do 1 0 1 1 times 0 0 1 1. So again, let's take advantage of some shortcuts here. So starting from the rightmost column, we have 1 times everything on the top row. So that is going to give us the top row. So that'll be 1 1 0 1. Now we add a 0, and then we do the same thing. 1 times everything on the top row, again, will be 1 1 0 1. It's just shifted over once. Then we do the same thing, except the next two terms are zeros. So you can include them for clarity if you want to, but it's not going to change the result of the addition. And why do more work than you have to? So if we go ahead and add these two results together, we have 1 plus 0, which is 1. This one here we're going to have to carry, so we have a 0, carry the 1, 0, carry the 1, 0, carry the 1, carry the 1, and there you have it. So I think you've got the idea so far, so what I'm going to have you do, I'm going to write down, I want you to do example 15 on the questions that I have copied and pasted. Pause the video, give it a try, then we'll come back and compare results. Alright, so I hope you guys were successful on this attempt. So let's go ahead and do it together just to make sure we're all on the same page. So starting off right here, using the trick that I showed you. So this first term here is a 1, so we have 1 times everything on the top. So that's going to be, in fact, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. Then I account for the 2's place by adding a 0. In this case, we're just going to have a bunch of zeros, so there you go. And now you have a 1, but this time you're going to add 2 zeros to account for the 4's place, and then you have the top row. 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. And then the next 2 terms are just zeros, so I'm not going to even include those. You might have, and that's totally fine, but you do not have to. So now just do the addition. So we have 1 plus a bunch of zeros is going to be 1. Same thing for the next row. Now we have to do some carries. So 1 and 1 is 2, but we got to carry the 1. Same thing goes here. Same thing goes here. Same thing goes here. And then 1 plus nothing is, of course, 1. So as you can see, binary multiplication, an extremely simple process, much simpler than the decimal multiplication by hand, in my opinion. I hope this helped, and I'll see you all in class.